Welcome to another exciting episode of ZoeTV. Michelle, you're back in the driver's seat.
I am.
Kay Baker is officially on the shelf.
She is.
Poor lady.
I
I feel so bad. She's really going through some stuff with her knee.
She is.
So I know residents are concerned. Prayers are welcomed by Miss Kay Baker.
Absolutely.
She wants everybody to know that she's doing good. She actually had surgery last week, and she's recovering, and she's going to be back in the seat at some point, but you are doing a great job holding serve. So we are excited to kick this episode off with our amazing Resident of Inspiration segment. Don and Shirley Sager, thank you so much for being here. I know it's you're a busy man. You guys are running all over this town, all over campus. So to grab you for 10 minutes, we appreciate it. So let's start with a little context to who Don and Shirley are, and then we'll get into Floyd nomination and who you want. But tell us a little bit, spend a few minutes and give us some details on who Don and Shirley Sager are.
Well, I'm Don. I grew up in Michigan, and Shirley grew up in Colorado, La Junta, Colorado, and we met up in Kalamazoo in Shirley's first year of teaching.
Okay.
And we...
I went to Goshen College.
Yeah, Shirley was in Goshen College, and then she got a job her first job in Kalamazoo, where I was. So we spent 6 years down on the reservation, teaching down there.
Okay.
We had kids, and then we spent 40 years in Denver before we came here. We've been here about 6 years. But about 22 years ago, just 10 days before Columbine, which was Columbine High School was about a mile down the road from us.
Oh, wow.
At that time. And we were heading up to Estes Park for the weekend. We had a head-on car crash, drunk driver coming over a rise, and fairly narrow two-lane highway up in the mountains there. You couldn't go this way. And,
nowhere else to go.
And so we got head-on, and Shirley got most of it. It hit kind of on her corner.
Yeah.
And so she spent 2 weeks she was in a coma before she opened her eyes. They didn't know if she'd make it through the first night, but she did. And then she spent 10 months in hospitals and rehab before she could come home. And she had pretty well busted up a whole bunch, and pretty severe brain injury, which she's been getting over ever since. And so she's been in the wheelchair at that time, and so that's how I got to be a pusher. And,
Pusher, yeah.
if I going to claim to any fame here, I guess I'll claim to be the number one pusher in Glencroft.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
for
you've
sure.
earned that title. We hear your name come up, both your guys' name come up all the time, and it's always in a sense of you two are obviously together and have gone through so much and have persevered to this point of, enjoying life and still being active, but that everybody recognizes what you guys have, and it's special, and it's inspiring.
Yeah.
I think in those 22 years, there's been probably less than 6 days that I haven't been with her at least part of the day.
That's a testament in and of itself.
No doubt.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I figure that's a privilege to me.
Yeah. Well, you've got great perspective. I mean, both of you guys have faith, and you guys, I think something that happened, what'd you say, 22 years ago?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a while ago. I mean, this is a longer chapter of going and doing that. It's amazing what you guys do together. And I know you're the pusher, but I bet she pushes you too.
She said it with a
puts up
smile.
with me. She puts up with me, and
Hey,
that's a real
I know.
chore.
Well, I know the way your mind. I've been privileged to be on the other end of that mind of things that you want for this campus and things that you research and all of this stuff. And so I know she catches wind before all of us of what's going through that little nugget of yours.
So, well, I'll tell you about, well, I don't know how long ago, a long time ago. It was after we were married, but I read an article in one of the Mennonite magazines, and it's talking about marriage. And he said, well, in America, you know, we pretty well, everybody agrees that a good marriage is 50-50. You know, everybody is half and half. Well, we also have a 50% divorce rate too. And so that might tell you something about the 50-50. Well, he said
50-50-year-old not so good.
50-50 isn't anywhere near good enough.
Yeah.
It's 100-100. Each partner is 100% responsible to make the marriage work and for the marriage. And so if each of them are doing their job very well, you got like a 200% marriage.
Oh,
But who's 100% all the time? So if you're only doing half a job, you got a 100% marriage.
yeah. Oh, my.
And sometimes one partner is in a position to not do very much because they can't. And or they write down close to zero. We found out that.
Yeah.
And so then it's up to the other one to step up and do the
Yeah,
100%.
balance it out.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I figure in 22 years, I've had to do not 100%, but you know, take a heavier load in some ways. And I figure I'm still not caught up to haven't put in as much as she has.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. Usually we don't like math on this show because,
We do.
but when it's used in that
do like
context,
that. That's-
we'll accept these
that's
numbers
just-
because
What's wrong with
it's.
math? I was
We're just not good at
That's-
it. Kay and I
another
usually
show.
just stare at each other. But it's, I feel like every week between Floyd and then you guys, we should have a little fortune cookie piece of
Piece of
paper we
paper,
fill out because
yeah.
it's just, you guys have such good perspective and nuggets that you can drop on,
Yeah.
you know, just no matter the age you are, everybody has a story and you guys have great testimony. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
So,
I don't have a driver's license.
yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So you guys got nominated by Floyd. What was your thoughts when you heard that?
Surprised, and I went and well, that was just the same day as the GCA
Yeah.
meeting. So after the meeting, we had a doctor's appointment in the morning, and then or in the early afternoon rather, and then I went to the meeting and checked with Floyd, and he told me, yeah. So I think it's a privilege, all right,
Yeah.
and I appreciate it.
Well,
Well-
he obviously shed a lot of really nice words about both of you, but the word inspiration, resident of inspiration,
Yes.
means a lot, right? That you're inspiring, and you didn't go out of your way to inspire Floyd, like made a purpose to, but just your actions did it,
Yep. You
right?
inspire people by
I'm
the way you
surprised
live.
because he's a pretty inspiring
Well,
guy.
I know.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's on the name of a lot of people's for who inspires. So it's, but you see the trickle down effect of the campus of who inspires
inspires
who,
who,
right? Like
yep.
that's what's so fun about the segment.
Well, that's like his thing. He said, don't be a sponge that absorbs, bring yourself out
Yeah.
and share. And you definitely, with all your research, you as soon as you discover something, you call up like, hey, did you guys know this? I'll send it over. I'll bring you a copy. So your
Yeah.
example of how you live
Sure you
inspires
do.
people, and your gift of what you research and share just
Yeah.
with us amongst how many other people we don't know, but I'm sure way beyond that.
We haven't been over in the performance center. And, well, when COVID hit, that knocked things out pretty
Yeah.
much. And then Shirley was in the hospital a while. Well, it's been going on better than a year and a half now, but she was in there for a while with a congestive heart failure. So she's pretty well got that under control now.
There you go.
And So we take one day at a time.
That's all we all do. All right. Well, we're gonna put we're gonna put you in the hot seat, and we do it every week. It's how you got here. And I know a lot of residents on this campus have inspired you. Like you mentioned, Floyd. You could probably give that right back to him. But we want a name or a couple, whatever you want to do, of who inspires you guys.
Well, we both agreed, Amp and Marianne Morris.
Okay. Okay.
They've inspired a lot of people over a lot of years, way before we were here. They've been an important part of this campus, I know, and so they're pretty special.
Okay, that's a great nomination. I know off camera we were talking about who you were going to nominate a little bit, and the act of volunteering and doing all of that was a big piece of their life, and you've seen them.
I understand that they were the top ones as far as number of volunteer hours for years. Well, Amp ran the shop when they had the shop.
Okay, okay.
And so that was quite a lot of hours there, and both of them. Really.
Well, that's a great nomination. So we're coming for him.
That's it, yeah.
We're going to hunt him down. We're going to get him in that seat. So we're coming for you. Yeah. Well, Dr. Shirley, we thank you for being here. I know at least, and I'm sure you could echo it, that your guy's name comes up all the time.
It does.
And Sagers are very much loved on this campus by staff, other residents. So it's fun to get you in this room and do this.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, this afternoon's new resident spotlight is Louise Christener. Louise, welcome to the show.
Thank you for
Thank you.
joining
Really
us.
nice to be here.
Yeah, we're lucky to have you because you hit the ground running on this campus.
Indeed.
Literally, you moved so fast, I couldn't keep. We'll get into her pretest later.
She's
but
amazing.
It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. But we tracked you down, and we appreciate you joining us.
Well, thank you. It's a privilege and an honor to be on this campus. I've really been enjoying it. It's only been a month, but you know, I'm trying to get really involved and getting to know lots of people, both in my court and throughout the campus. But just getting settled took me a lot of time.
It's a big
so
transition, and
it
you
has
really
been.
weren't. Some people kind of move in and they push things down. They want to unpack. But you kind of hit the ground and said, "We got to get moving a little bit."
Yes. I've moved so much in my life. I've had it down to a science, I think.
All right, so how did you, I know you've moved a lot, we talked on the way in here, you've had so many zip codes that you've lived at.
Like,
you could probably match Floyd,
What'd she say?
and he was in the military.
Alaska to London, I think it was, right?
But give us a quick synopsis of how you got to Glencroft. Like, where are you from, what did you do, and then how you ended up here.
Okay. Well, I started out in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, and all three of my sisters still live there, so I do go back at least once a year, except during COVID.
Yeah.
Really had a good beginning there. It was a wonderful time. I was in the, late 40s, and, life was good. Once I graduated from high school, I went to college in Delaware,
Okay.
so I was there for a while. And then married someone that I knew all through high school. He was in the Army, so that's part of why we traveled a bit.
Sure.
Alaska was one of those places, Fairbanks, Alaska. We were up there for 2 years and 2 winters. Minus 68.
Is that what that's the most you've been in? Minus 68?
I thought
Thank you.
Pennsylvania would have prepared me, but no.
You've been on both ends then, the Phoenix
Yes.
Desert in the summer and Fairbanks in the winter.
That's right.
Which is harder?
That's right.
The heat or the cold?
The one you're in at the time.
Yeah. Good answer. Good answer.
That is true.
But really, I enjoyed the experiences of all the places I lived. I think it helps to make who you are
Right.
and an appreciation for people just in general, because everybody, has a heart and soul, and you get in touch with those, and people were the same.
Right.
And I've had the privilege of still keeping in contact with a lot of people that I met, in
Along the
those
way.
places. So that, in fact, when I came here to Arizona, I lived in Arizona once before in 1976, 77, worked at the Arizona House of Representatives.
Oh, wow.
And so I still have some friends that I now
Oh, great.
reconnected
You
with
reconnected.
Gosh.
Nice.
What'd you
And
do
one
there?
that we never. I worked for one of the representatives.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's cool.
So that was interesting. My career has varied a lot. The last 20-some years of my life, I worked in administration in a community college in California.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
What
and,
part of California?
And this was in Ventura County,
Okay,
the
okay.
town Moore Park College.
You can get your plug.
Okay,
That's
get your
all right.
plug.
Yeah.
What was their logo? Were they an artichoke? What were they?
No, they were a warrior.
They were a warrior. Okay, that's your new name. Because I don't want to say Kristen. You're a warrior. That's apropos.
So what brought me here was that when I got to the point that I thought, I was living in a retirement community in Camarillo, California, called Leisure Village, and where you own your own home, and they don't really, they take care of the exterior, things like
Sure.
that, but my husband died 9 years ago this month,
Okay.
and I got to the point I just didn't want to keep taking care of the
Care of
house,
the
for
house, yeah,
myself.
sure.
So the market was really good
Yeah.
not too long ago.
Yeah.
It was so good that I had to, the house sold so fast that I had to find a place
yeah.
quickly. And I had looked up and down the coast of California at retirement communities, continuing care retirement communities, and just couldn't find anything that really clicked with me unless it was so expensive I knew I'd I'd outlive my money.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, right.
Right.
Sure.
So
That's concern.
someone mentioned Glencroft to me, and so one of my daughters lives in Albuquerque, and she and I came here for 5 days in June, and I was sold
That was a
within
lot
the
of fun.
first day.
Yes,
you
yes.
know?
Yeah.
We got to meet Michelle
That
then,
was-
and
yeah.
we were at the Fit Lab and times, and anyway. So, but it took me a little while to get everything together to get moved. So
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't move in until September.
Yeah, sure. Wow.
So, anyway, everybody I've met here is so nice, both in administration and the staff, and the housekeepers, and the
Yeah.
groundkeepers, and just very helpful. And there's in fact, I have not used my kitchen table since I moved in because I have all these Glencroft papers spread all over in piles that I'm trying to learn
Organize
from.
it.
Yeah, there's a lot, right?
There is a lot.
And that's where we're trying to get, now that we've kind of figured out COVID, but trying to figure out how to operate through COVID and do the
COVID,
things we wanted to do previously to COVID, which was our ambassador program, our new resident orientations,
Right.
things that would help facilitate some of this onboarding
Yeah.
into Glencroft, because it's such a
Make it
big
less
hurdle.
overwhelming.
There's so much
Yeah.
thrown at you.
I'll volunteer to help you because I,
See, there you go.
be glad to, know from my
She's
own
a warrior.
experience.
You're a warrior.
Know from my own experience what would help when you first
Right.
moved.
Well, yeah,
Right.
it's
Still fresh in
absolutely.
my
Coming
mind.
out of
Yeah,
state,
it's
too.
recent, right?
Right.
So I want to go back to real quick. When you
Yes.
heard about Glencroft, did you know a faith-based campus, big campus, everything that it provided, or you didn't really know what you were stepping into coming down for your tour
No,
and visit?
I did a lot of research, and so I knew what
Okay.
I was getting into, and everything was like part of my checklist.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
some, a lot of extras.
Well, you're so outgoing. She's making friends on her visit already.
know.
So they're like, come back. So, yeah.
But I think we've had these conversations, and I think, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you were saying, I wish this kind of campus could have happened in San Diego or in California, where
Yes.
I could have had all my boxes checked with a campus like this, but we're
Right.
so unique
Yeah.
in our offerings and activities and dining and everything that it's like you had to kind of get outside your bubble, and you
Yes,
ended
I
up
did.
back in Phoenix.
Yeah, and the hardest part was my family. A lot of my family is still in California.
Yeah.
My 3 granddaughters, I have 2 daughters that are still there, and that's the hardest part.
Sure,
but
absolutely.
Hopefully, there'll be visits
come
going
visit,
back and
right.
forth once COVID is
I know.
Yeah.
if it ever gets behind us.
Yeah.
All right, we got a couple minutes left. I
right.
want to talk about your assessment in the Performance Center.
Yeah.
And normally I don't disclose, it's not like we're having HIPAA violations, but you are like an absolute rock star coming into this program. Not like we've had you for a while and we made you a rock star like a lot of our
Like came
residents.
in just-
You're
yeah.
coming in a rock star. And I think it's the lifestyle that you put out for yourself. You've been on plant-based diet for 40 years.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Plant-based, not vegetarian.
No.
Plant-based, vegan.
But no, vegan, no meat.
For 40 years.
Meat, dairy, eggs, you know.
I'm on day 30. Well, let's see. This later on. I'm on day 30.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
hard.
a
But you
start.
had to start.
Well,
You had a day
You all
30
had
at some
one,
point.
right? Yeah.
You all had, I'd never been a big meat eater at all.
Yeah.
And so that part wasn't too hard. I don't drink any alcohol either. That was all part of it for me. That wasn't a problem either.
Yeah.
'Cause I
So
know
how about your
it was-
sweet tooth? You got a sweet tooth?
I do have a sweet tooth.
How do you
but,
satisfy that? There's a-
dried fruits a
Okay.
lot of the time.
Okay.
Dates are one of the better ones. Grapes aren't dried fruit, but grapes are really
Yeah.
good. You know,
Yeah.
for things if you just feel you need something sweet in your mouth, you just
Yeah,
pop one
absolutely.
in and.
Wow. I kudos to you. And I think a lot of residents, you're way ahead of your time in terms of the vegan interest and the plant-based diets. And I don't want to call them fads or even diets, but it's hot
it's a
right now. People are
lifestyle.
talking
It's a
about it
lifestyle
because
change.
the science has shown that this is a really good way to battle inflammation and chronic disease. And people are really turning their lives around by going plant-based.
Oh, I
and
read stories every day. I subscribe to a lot of positive websites that way, and it's really inspiring to hear what people have overcome as
Right.
a result
Right.
of changing their diet.
right.
And that's it. You need to realize it's a lifestyle change.
It's a lifestyle
Not a
change.
diet.
That's right.
It's
That's
really
exactly
a
right.
lifestyle
I
change.
mean,
and
after all this
it
time,
was-
I couldn't imagine ever not
like
being
going
able
back to it, right? Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
exactly
There's no
right.
desire. I mean, there hasn't been for a very, very long time.
Well, and it was interesting because we fielded a lot of calls this week about the ZIP program in
Right.
our deep dive into ZoeLife and how this Mediterranean, more of a Mediterranean person, because there's some chicken and fish in this world, but how our plant-based / Mediterranean diet plays in, and how I keep telling the data that has come out of our two groups for those that ate this plant-based
really
for the first time, their weight loss, their inflammation, their pain, their joints, everything is being increased, and like they're feeling great.
They're feeling great.
And
They're
I'll
sleeping
mention,
better.
I have
Yeah.
never been on a prescription drug ever.
That's outstanding.
And I don't intend to be. That's my goal.
Right.
Well, you are very
but staying
active.
active is very important. You know, that's a part of the puzzle. You know, it's not just about diet.
Yeah.
Right.
It's what's up here. You know.
Well, and that's where
what's in the muscles.
the
Right.
6 pillars
Yeah.
of ZoeLife kind of are to cover all those different
Yes.
pieces of the puzzle, and you bring them all together,
Right.
and you get
Yeah.
moving, you
Yes.
eat right, you're learning, and Glencroft University, and you're
I
doing
love
the spiritual
lectures
walk.
that are here.
And it's
Yeah.
it's
I've one
the-
this afternoon, in fact.
Yes, exactly.
yeah,
She's
you're on
really
top of
cool.
everything.
She really is.
You're like the
I
poster
like
child.
immersing
Yeah.
myself in things that I really think are helpful to my own personal well-being and growth.
Yeah,
Right.
I think it's amazing. And again,
That's
I'm
it.
not going to detail out your
Okay.
entire assessment, but
But
your
it's-
2-minute step test ran circles around anything since back to 2019
Right.
Beta 1. It's blown everybody out of the water. I can't wait to see you in 6 weeks, what these numbers
Right.
look like.
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
you're going to be trying out for the Cardinals. We're going to bring you to the Combine.
I signed up for the walking team.
Yeah, I figured that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, please,
Perfect.
I hope she's on mine. Oh my gosh.
She's not my team.
We got 10 seconds left. I'm glad we transitioned real quick. Walking teams.
Walking teams.
Call us.
Call
Let's
us.
get you on a team. We're facilitating all of the heavy lifting and getting you placed. You just got to call and say, I'm walking anyway. I might as well get accrued credits.
I
and
want
put
to
it
be on a
the team.
team. Teams are going to be equally balanced. Do not worry.
Yeah, the
fair.
Wixons, we're splitting you up.
That's
We're
it.
splitting the Wixons.
That's it.
I've made that decision. All right, we appreciate you being here. We are out of
you so
time. I feel like we
much.
could go another 30
I just
minutes.
enjoy
You're
talking
amazing.
with the both of you in
Oh,
general, so
yeah,
it's
we
always a
appreciate
pleasure.
you. All right, we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.